running out of ways to make you see. I want you to stay here beside me. I won't be okay, and I won't pretend I am. So just tell me today and take my hand. Please take my hand. Ooh, please take my hand. Ooh, just say yes. Just say there's nothing holding you back. It's not a test or a trick of the mind, only love. It's so simple, and you know it is. All we have to do is choose the way. You're the only one for me. The path is clear. All you have to do is choose. No need to fear. Please take my hand. My hand. Just say yes. Just say there's nothing holding you back. It's not a test or a trick of the mind, only love. Just say yes. Just say there's nothing holding you back. It's not a test or a trick of the mind, only love. Just say yes. Just say there's nothing holding you back. Just say yes. Not a trick of the mind, only love. Just say yes. Just say yes. Just say yes. Ooh, just say yes. Ooh, just say yes. Right. Welcome to Unity of Bon Air. And we will start our service the way we always do, with God is good and all is well. Please rise if you feel you can. What a wonderful morning, beyond compare. I feel God's loving presence everywhere. I am filled with joy profound.
Welcome to Unity of Bon Air, where we live and express unconditional love and grow together in peace and prosperity. My name is Edward Hayes, and I am your service minister today. I am glad to be with you this morning, both in person and online. Whether this is your first time or your 100th time joining us, we are grateful for your presence and participation as we share this special time together. We have come together as part of love's divine purpose that calls each of us forth to celebrate the connection that we share through the Holy's presence within and around us that we call God. In this spirit of community, we unfold in light and love all spiritual gatherings, all religious gatherings, and all people everywhere. And we begin our time together with this special message from the Daily Word. The word for today is inspiration. Sometimes I feel myself inspired by the words of others, and sometimes I am inspired more by action. Today, I take inspiration from the story of Charles Fillmore, a businessman who marveled at his wife's complete healing from serious illness. This prompted him to embark upon an intense period of prayer, meditation, and study that led to the founding in 1889 of Unity, which has become a global spiritual community. I take this story to heart and find my inspiration in my feelings of awe and wonder, love, and even healthy curiosity. Feeling an awakening of inspiration within me, I center my awareness on God. Divinely inspired, I move my harmony within the creative flow that blesses the work of my mind, my heart, and my hands. The scripture today comes from Job 32nd chapter, 8th verse. But truly it is the spirit in the mortal, the breath of the Almighty, that makes for understanding. Our affirmation for today, I will read it once and I'll ask that you repeat it twice afterwards. I move in harmony with the creative flow of inspiration. I move in harmony with the creative flow of inspiration. I move in harmony with the creative flow of inspiration. Thank you. And now, if I find it, is my opportunity to introduce the guest speaker, who's becoming less of a guest, but a wonderful person. We always love to hear her speak, and of course, that is Cheryl Fair. Cheryl is a minister candidate in the field of ministry path of the Unity Worldwide Ministries and a licensed Unity teacher, inspirational speaker, published playwright, actor, producer, director, singer-songwriter, organizational consultant. At Unity of Bon Air, Cheryl teaches classes, leads the prayer team, and serves on the ministry team as communications coordinator. Cheryl has a passion for Unity principles, and she shares openly how to use these real and practical truth teachings that have guided her through several exceptional life changes and life challenges. So once again, let's welcome Cheryl. And I think that we have a song now.
If you would join in singing Surely the Presence. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's strength. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face.
morning, everyone. Now it's time for us to have an opening prayer. So let's all take a few deep breaths together. And if you wish, you can allow your outer eyes to drift closed as we create a sacred space here together. A space of prayer and contemplation. A space where we come into the realization of our truth as expressions of all that is, embodying divine love through all aspects of our lives. And from this center of divine love, we have the capacity to enfold in light and love those who are in need in our lives and in our world. So let's begin by bringing into this sacred space anyone you know who you would like to hold in prayer. All of the names that are in our prayer box here in the sanctuary, all of those names that are on our prayer list. So let's take a moment right now to speak into the stillness any names that you would like to enfold in light and love. Speak those names now. And now we take this presence of divine love that we are and expand it out into our community, into the city of Richmond, the Commonwealth of Virginia, our nation, and beyond to encompass the entire world, especially sending our light and love to enfold those in Haiti, those in Afghanistan, and all other places in the world where people are in challenge, in strife, engaged in struggle of some sort. Let us hold them now in light and love. Lift up your consciousness of light and love, and thereby help to lift those in need up as well. And from this perspective of our divine nature, we also bring into our consciousness our earthly home and all of the creatures that we share this earthly home with, sharing this consciousness of light and love. For right now, right here in this moment, this is what is ours to do. So as we bring our consciousness back to this moment, the room that you're in, your seat, let us seal this process of prayer with a statement of our gratitude by saying, I am grateful 3 times together. Say it with me. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. So I am, so you are, my friends, and so it is. Amen. So good morning, everyone. Wonderful to see all of the smiling faces in this room. And it's wonderful also to connect with all of you that I know are out there on the internet. And you are a part of us right here, right now. And we're happy to have you here. So anyone who is here for the first time here in the room, please know that we have some welcome packets. They're in a little box over there, a little blue box by the door. So be sure to pick up one of those if you're new here for the first time. And if you're online, unityofbonair.org is the place to be. And if you'd like to keep up with everything going on here, just click on the newsletter button and sign up for our weekly newsletter. So It's wonderful to be here. I want to mention a few things before we go further. I would like to thank everyone who came out and participated in our Chillin' at Unity Summer Series. We closed that out last night. Yeah. And it really was a wonderful experience. We had, I would say, the greatest accomplishment, other than just coming together and sharing wonderful entertainment, was the number of people that came here for the first time from the community. We had a couple of performers who attend other churches in the community, and couple nights in a row, we had 30, 40 Baptists rolling in the door, and being here for the first time and seeing our gardens for the first time. So as far as putting us out into the world in wonderful ways, it was a tremendous success, and thank you everyone who participated. Lucy was one of our performers, and just thank you everyone. One thing that I want to make sure that you have on your calendars is next Sunday, the 29th, at 1 p.m., we will be having a Unity in Community congregational meeting. So there'll be lots of updates and information. So it's at 1 o'clock. So those of you who like to come in person, plenty of time for you to go home, get settled, get your lunch or whatever, and then get on Zoom at 1. We will be here in person also, so you have both options. So as I've heard someone say, I can't remember who, it's like, no excuse. Just, we're in person, we're on Zoom, be there, 1 o'clock next Sunday, and hear all kinds of updates of what's going on with our wonderful spiritual community. And before we go onward, there is one happening today that I want to bring to everyone's attention. We have a birthday in the room. Julie Fulcher Davis, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, dear Julie. Happy birthday to you. 29.
All right, and now I think it's time for us to have a congregational song.
Here is our congregational song. So I think everyone's familiar with this. Good old Ricky Byers. We love her. And here's her song, I Release, which goes along with today's theme. So please join along if you'd like to. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, trying to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. In my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Let's sing it. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free with the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. We could keep singing that, couldn't we? Well, you can go home and listen to it and sing it again.
Wonderful, wonderful. Everyone in the room, let's remain standing right now as we affirm our statement of truth together. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God, the omnipotent good. And as all of Unity principles and practices are based on the teachings of Jesus, we honor that by singing the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So this song I'm going to share with you today, we're going to share with you. My husband Scott and I sat and watched this video sometimes up to 6 to 8 times in a row, Lauren Daigle, throughout the pandemic and the lockdown. And it just really, when there's so many things going on in the world that are hard and difficult, just listen to Peace Be Still and think that to yourself. And really, it puts so many things in perspective, because that's all you need to do is just be still and appreciate your life. Here goes. Hope you enjoy it if you haven't heard it. And if you have, hope you enjoy it also. I don't want to be afraid every time I face the waves. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to fear the storm just because I hear it roar. I don't want to fear the storm. I don't want to fear the storm. Peace be still, say the word, and I will put my feet upon the sea till I'm dancing in the deep. Peace be still, you are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks. I'm not gonna be afraid, 'cause these waves are only waves. I'm not gonna be afraid. I'm not gonna be afraid. And I'm not gonna fear the storm. You are greater than its roar. I'm not gonna fear the storm. I'm not gonna fear it all. Oh, peace be still, say the word, and I will set my feet upon the sea till I'm dancing in the deep. Peace be still, you are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks. Peace, peace over me. Listen, let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Sing it if you feel like it. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. One more time again. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Let's one more time again. Here we go. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Peace, be still, say the word, and I will set my feet upon the sea till I'm dancing in the deep love. Peace, be still, you are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks. Peace, peace, fall over me. Oh, peace, oh, peace, be still. Oh, peace, oh, peace. Thank you. Isn't that a good one? Listen to the band. They're pretty awesome, too. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, ladies. Karen, Lucy, Julie. Are we blessed or what? I tell you, it causes me to have a situation because I get into the music so much and then I forget what I'm supposed to be doing up here. So, but I'm really happy and excited to be with you all in this way this morning. I really look forward to times when we can really kind of dive in and talk about truth. So thank you for being here. Thank you to all you folks online. I feel you. So I have a story for us to start out with today, and it's a story you might have heard. I've seen it online a number of times. So it's an old Cherokee parable. So a Cherokee elder, just get that in your mind, whoever that, if that's a woman or a man, is teaching a grandchild about life. And the elder says, a struggle is going on inside me, the elder says to the child. It's a terrible, intense struggle, and it's between two wolves. One wolf is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, ego. The other wolf is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same struggle is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The child thought about it for a minute and then asked the elder, which wolf will win? And the elder said, the one you feed. The one you feed. So I love that story for a couple of reasons. One is that right there at the end, when it says the one you feed, that lets us know that whatever's going on in the experience of our lives is something that we're in charge of ourselves. Now, plenty of times we get into modes where we're kind of looking at other people, situations, things in the outer world and saying, that's what's making me angry. But actually, the choosing of being angry is right here. So in that parable, that shows us that right there. That whatever it is that's going on, you are the one that's feeding it. You are the one that's giving it energy. And then the other thing I like about it is how it lets us know you have a choice there, don't you? Because you can choose to not feed that. You can choose to feed the other wolf. You could choose to remain neutral, but you have a choice. And that choice that you might make to stop feeding that wolf that's angry, prideful, resentful, holding a grudge, when you choose to do that, in old-fashioned unity terms, that might be called using a denial. So, and that's what we're talking about today. In old-fashioned unity terms, we're talking about denials, and denials is one of the kind of foundational teachings of unity. So we heard in the Daily Word today, there was quite a bit about Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. So unity came together in the late 1800s. Kind of fascinating to think that's like, that's not last century, but the century before then. So one of the foundational tools that Charles Fillmore put together are these tools of denials and affirmations. So we're going to talk about the denials part today, and then sometime in the future I'll follow up with talking about the affirmations. But let me share a little bit with you about, so we're talking about denials today. This is actually by request. It wasn't sort of a direct request, but it was a request from my girlfriend Deb in the back. Who, I must have, I often will mention our practices when I'm speaking up front, and we can use these practices. And she was like, no, I really need some more on that. And I was like, all right, note taken, we'll do that. So just know I take requests. So if you would like, if there's something you want to hear more about, and we don't have a class going on with that right now, then just let me know, and we'll do it. So that's why we're doing denials today. Let me look really briefly at a definition of denials, and this is very brief. It's from this book called How to Pray Without Talking to God, which is the text that we've been using for a number of years to teach unity prayer. It's by Reverend Linda Martella Whitsitt, who some of you will remember. She and her daughter were one of our video guest speakers recently. So this is actually not from her, it's a quote that's in the beginning of a chapter 4, for those of you who have this book. It's from someone named Sharon Connors, from a book called Adventures in Prayer, Praying Your Way to a God You Can Trust. Like I said, it's a short quote. Denial erases, dissolves, and releases. Affirmation claims, plants, and builds. Let me read it again. Denial erases, dissolves, and releases. Affirmation claims, plants, and builds. So one of the little bumps in the road that I run into as soon as I want to talk about denials is that, like we said, unity was founded in the late 1800s, and now here in the 21st century, we have a different meaning for that word than they had back then. So that was before the advent of modern psychology. And in modern psychology, which many of people have studied, denial has a particular meaning which has come into our common culture. And so then when we're here in unity and we start talking about that, it's become kind of like a special word that, if you've been around unity, you might know what it means. And if you haven't been, you're like, what is she talking about? We're supposed to be like, denying. So it, it becomes a sticky widget to work with language-wise, because ultimately, for me, I want to use words that are more universally understood, so we don't have to be in that place of, what is she talking about? So the best phrase that I've come up with so far, and I'm open to suggestions, is intentional release. Because we're not talking about psychological denial here. We're not talking about pretending things that are, clearly happening in our lives are not happening, or pretending that they don't exist or anything like that. We're talking about actually an action, a shift in consciousness that we choose. And so, like I said, the closest I've come to is saying intentional release. Now, there's a problem with that too. So, language-wise, because another one of the foundational teachings of unity is the 12 powers, well, one of those is release. That's the modern word for it. The original word was elimination or renunciation, but in the 21st century, we commonly will say release, and denial is not the same as release. You use your power of release to make a denial. So anyway, it's like, I don't know what to, So we'll just talk about it, and I'm going to call it intentional release for now. One little side story, when I bring up the 12 powers and release, one of the funny stories from my history here is I did spend 3 or 4 years as the YFM director during the time that we were moving from the little house into the big building, and so I spent plenty of time with the kids, and anytime we would study the 12 powers, there's this poster we would use, and the different powers are located in different parts of the body and have different colors and whatever, and elimination is located in the area of the body where we eliminate waste, and the color is brown. So as soon as you bring out the poster and talk about the 12 powers, what happens with the kids? And my daughter, who's well into her 20s now, anytime we bring up the 12 powers, she starts snickering because that's what she thinks of, is the poster and the poopy color and the, anyway. So many challenges in like how to approach things and get a meaningful message across when everyone's giggling about it. So anyway, I'm going to call denial an intentional release, a shift in consciousness that we choose and take action with. Now, where does all this teaching come from? Denial and affirmations. Well, as I always say, it's in our script up here before we sing the Lord's Prayer, I always remind us everything we do here is based on the teachings of Jesus. And that's exactly where these practices of denials and affirmation come from. So it comes directly from the Gospel of Matthew 5:36. I'm going to check my note. Yes, 5:36, where Jesus said, "Let your words be yes, yes, or no, no." So be clear about where you are on things. Has anyone here ever gotten in trouble in their lives by being mushy about stuff? Let your words be yes, yes, or no, no. So the no, no part, that's what we're talking about today. And also, the teachings of Jesus let us know in no uncertain terms that where the divine is located is right here. We're not talking about something that's out there. We're talking about something that is expressing at the point of each one of us and envelops all of the wondrous world that we live in. There's no place where God is not, right? So that lets us know that where the control is about when we're talking about the two wolves, it's right here, right? Right here, not somewhere else. You don't need to get the answer from somewhere else. You just need to work on working it yourself to stop feeding that wolf that you don't want to be feeding, right? So denials are a practice that we can choose to use. So I'll tell you a little personal story from my history, because I have a number of times in my life, because I've been a student of unity for so long, I'm like, all right, let me just, dig in and use these practices and see what I can do. So, and very often I've used them for healing and had pretty good success with that. So, thank you, Bev. She's giving me a little applause back there. So this is a story from my late 30s, early 40s. I had started doing some different kinds of exercise than I normally do, back then, and my knees were hurting. And I was like, what is this about? Anybody ever experienced like getting older and having your knees hurt? So I go to the doctor, and the doctor does some x-rays and says, oh, you have the knees of an 80-year-old woman. Then the doctor said, he's looking at the family history. Oh, I see your mother had arthritis and had 2 knee replacements. So guess where you're headed? Did I believe it? Yes, I did. I bought it. I bought that, and I went down that road of like medicines and creams, and the doctor was like, don't do this and don't do that, don't do bending activities, don't go up and down the stairs, don't. And I bought it all, hook, line, and sinker. Gave my power away like I was, tossing coins. And then got to the point where I was receiving treatments of like injections in my knees. Oh, it was horrible. I know, it just gross you out just to say it, right? And there was one day in particular, and it wasn't the first round of these injections I was getting, and my husband was with me, and it's kind of like the doctor was having a bad day. And I literally did not feel safe. I mean, it was like, and I came out of that going, okay, this is not working, right? This is not, like, what am I doing? And at that point, I don't remember what year it was, but I had enough unity to go, wait a minute. Let me just back off of all of this and see if I can work on this. So I started, as I often do with healing projects, with Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and looking at that, and the first time, and you have to look deep in there, because sometimes the first thing you look at is not, so I looked up knees, and it had something about flexibility, and that's really not my issue. But then I kept looking, and I looked at arthritis, and it said fear, and it was like, bingo. Got my number there. And so I started working on it, and I started working with this practice of denials and affirmations. So because I had chosen to take on these beliefs that I had old lady knees and that I'm going to need surgery and all these, and of course you get plenty of that out in the world too. Oh yeah, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. And it was just like, I give no power to thoughts of, this and that, and I started working those denials. Because just like when we're talking about feeding the wolf, whether or not you realize it, it's a choice to keep feeding whatever it is if it's sorrow, if it's holding a grudge, if it's worry, worry, worry. Anybody have that one? Anybody feed that wolf? Worry, worry? You're choosing to do it, whether it's, so once you become aware, you stop choosing to give your power to that. So I started working those, and over time, I stopped going to that doctor and ended up at another doctor who said, well, you just need to go to physical therapy. And everything's been pretty good since then. Now, I've had other things, but the knees have not been bothering me. So I can, stand here and say, hey, these things work. Once we get to the point where we realize something is out of whack, like, what am I doing? Then that's an opportunity where we can actually use these practices to change our lives, to raise the quality of our thoughts and feelings so that we have a more productive, prosperous, joyful experience in this life. So we start with denials, which is, once you realize that you have crappy thoughts, you need to empty the trash, folks. Stop giving your energy to crappy thoughts. Now, sometimes when you start noticing it is when you have a repetitive pattern in your life, right? Where it's like, here I am again how did I get here? How do I keep ending up here? Anybody ever experienced that moment? So you have a pattern. You're not really sure where it comes from because, quite frankly, when we talk about taking on beliefs, that might have happened when you were 5 years old and you don't have an actual memory of it anymore, or it's like so deep in your memory, but you've got a pattern. You've got a pattern where you learned in a certain moment, I'm going to end up alone. Nobody's going to be here for me. Or I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough. But it's packed so deep down in there, it's hard for you to figure out, how do I work with this when I don't even know what it is? But your denial doesn't have to be specific. Like when I was working with my knees, I knew I was like, okay, clearly I have given away my house and my whole life to the, words of this doctor. And it's like, I don't have to do that. But so you can make your denial kind of vague, but still beneficial. I give no power to thoughts of lack or limitation. I give no power to feelings of lack or limitation. So it's there. You keep showing up and landing in that same place where you don't want to be. So there's some kind of pattern in your consciousness, so you can start unpacking it with that kind of denial. And taking that into your spiritual practice so that you can begin to plant new seeds in your consciousness. And that's the affirmation part, which we'll get to another time. But I do want to be specific about the language. So the language I would suggest is, I give no power to, because where's the source of power in your life? It's in your divine nature, which is right, it's in you. So you're the one that's giving the power to whatever this wolf is doing. And you're the one that can choose to say, I give no power to that. So often I'll hear people practicing with denials, and they'll say, blah, blah, blah has no power over me. And it's like, that's true. Blah, blah, blah does not have any power over you. Other people don't have power over you. The weather, the news, your family. No, your power is right here at home. So the wording that I suggest is, I give no power to thoughts of, and if you have some idea what it is, then fill in the blank. If you don't, just say lack and limitation, because chances are that's what's taking you down this track and landing you in that same place over and over again. So let's talk a little bit about what denials are used for. Because it's really important for us to remember that denials are not for denying facts in the outer world. Okay? So I'm going to use Wilma as an example, and I know she doesn't mind. Okay? But that doesn't mean you can start talking, because it's my turn to talk. Okay? All right. So Wilma showed up last night for the concert. She broke her wrist yesterday. So we're all going to hold her in love and light. But we don't do a denial. We're not denying that her wrist is broken, because in her physical outer life, she has an injury and it hurts. And, so we don't use our denial to pretend like, oh, that's not there, that didn't happen. That's not how we use a denial. And we also don't deny our feelings about what's happening in our outer life. We don't ever deny feelings. Feelings are like our GPS. When you have a feeling of, say, fear, worry, or whatever, what that's letting you know is that what's going on in your outer life is out of sync with what you know to be the truth of your divine nature. And when you have that feeling, that means, we have something we need to work on. Like when you keep showing up in a certain circumstance and it doesn't feel right, there's something for you to pay attention there. So we don't ever deny our feelings, even if what you want to work with is something where you feel fearful. We're not denying the fear. The fear is important to show, tell us something about what's going on with that circumstance. So what we do deny is, let me look at my list here. All right, we deny thoughts and beliefs that are out of alignment with our true nature. So those old thoughts you might have taken on in a relationship or in your family of origin that says, nobody's gonna love me, I'm not good enough, we deny that because that is not the truth of your nature. The truth of your nature is that you are the power of love. So when you have things that are shown with those kinds of thoughts that are out of alignment with your divine nature, that's what you use a denial for. I give no power to thoughts of feeling unloved. I am divine love in motion. All right, we deny the belief of permanence in, like sometimes, have you ever been in a situation and it just feels like you're just going to be that, it's just going to be that way forever? We deny that that sense of everything in this human life is temporary. Now, that doesn't mean that some of us don't have situations that in our physical life that are not likely to change. So for me, I have a permanent disability. I'm actually missing an entire joint, an entire rib in my body. Now, I don't think that I'm a lizard, so I don't think I'm just going to grow a new one. But my experience is not of being unwhole. My experience is wholeness. My experience is not of being injured or lacking in some way. My experience is of being innovative, of how do I work around this, and my experience is of joy and wholeness and all of those things. And the physical body is something that I'm working with in the framework of these dynamics. But I don't dwell in these thoughts of never and broken and things like that. I'm not feeding those wolves. All right, we also deny negative interpretations. So have you ever had something happen to you and somebody says, oh, that's just terrible. That's tragic. At one point when I was in the hospital in rehab for like 4 months in a row, and I had one very kind person show up and sit at the bedside and say, I have no idea how you're doing. This is so awful. This is unbelievable. I don't know how you're doing it. And I'm like, I'm thinking I don't know how either right now. So we don't buy into themes of things being, negative that we get from the outer world. That's what we deny. So when it's like, oh, well, that's happening to you, that's bad, that's always bad. You have the choice. You can choose to have your whatever experience you want to have, so you can deny that right away. So another quick example, at one point when I was in the hospital, there's this doctor who would show up and he would tell this story to me of, well, we believe you will walk again, but one leg will be shorter than the other, but don't worry about it. We'll get you some special shoes. And at that point, I was living as much in my divine nature as I could through that. And so my denial was something like this. That has nothing to do with me. I give no power to that. So it was like for fans of Star Wars, it's like, these are not the droids you seek. So that was, that's how simple a denial can be. And in the teachings of Charles Fillmore, he talks about when you do a denial that it's just like clearing away cobwebs. Now, there are times when you have some pretty serious stuff and you really need to kick it to the curb, but you have to be careful because you don't want your denial to turn into something that's so powerful and ongoing that you're in fact feeding the wolf again, right? So you have to be careful about, sometimes you really need to, I give no power to thoughts of lack and limitation, and then you move right on to the good stuff that you have in mind. Sometimes it needs to be powerful, but a lot of times it can be as simple as that. And in my mind, I don't think I was moving my arms around because I was like, strapped up. But in my mind, it was like, okay, that has nothing to do with me. I give no power to that. And clearly, I'm not wearing special shoes. I'm just wearing regular sandals. So, and we also will often need to deny beliefs that are out there in collective consciousness. right? Because like one of my favorite ones when it comes to talking about health and healing is how many of us have bought the story of in springtime I'm going to have allergies and I'm going to get sick. Anyone? Yes, we have a couple brave souls who are admitting that they've bought that, and the story comes to you in collective consciousness over and over and over again. If you watch television, it's like, here come the commercials for all of the medicines that you're going to need because you're going to get sick now. And so many of us are just like, it happened last year, so it's going to happen again. And we just roll right into it, don't we? And you don't have to. You can choose to deny that. You can do an intentional release. I give no power to beliefs around allergies. And see if you can make some progress. I've practiced that one and made tremendous progress too, but I need to stop talking pretty soon, so I can't tell you every story today. So let's do the steps, all right? Step one is when you notice, because we can be, knee deep in the doo-doo for a long time before we notice, right? Anybody have that happen? It's like, wait a minute, how many years have I been doing this? But once you notice, there's your window for healing. Because once you've noticed, you can't unnotice it, can you? It's like it can't be unseen. Once you've seen what you've been doing, you open up that window of possibility. You notice that what you know to be the truth of yourself is not what you're acting out in the world, and what can you do to bring those two things together? How can you start using words and taking actions that are in alignment with your divine nature? So you realize it's time to do the work. And the first step is you need to get quiet. You need to follow the advice of our elder brother, our way shower, Jesus, and go into your room and close the door. And stop listening to all the chitter chatter from out in the world and get quiet. And commune with your divine nature, or some of you who prefer more traditional language, with the Father. And from there, you can take an intention around healing, whatever it is, and you can start working on a denial. I give no power to, we'll just stick with thoughts of lack and limitation. Now, you're going to use some of your spiritual powers that we talk about in this phase, all right? So you're going to use your power of faith, because our power of faith is our capacity to perceive beyond what our human eyes and ears show us. So even when we're still in that point of like, because you're still in whatever the problem is, you're just choosing to make a shift, so your human eyes are still going to be documenting all the evidence of what's wrong, right? And, it's like, oh, and this is, oh, yep, this is wrong, that's wrong. It's like human brain, shh. So you're going to use your power of faith to see beyond that, to all of those aspects of that other wolf. Peace, love, harmony. You can use your faith for that. You're going to use your, let me check my list, make sure I'm doing the right thing. Use your power. Your power of power is about your word. So often we need to examine the kind of self-talk that we're doing around the issue and change the language we're using so that our word is in alignment with our divine nature. We're going to use our power of will, and I'm hoping some of you have been following the articles on the 12 powers that have been in our newsletter this entire year. This month, we're studying will, and will is our capacity to choose, to make choices. So it's a very action-oriented power. It's also that space of being willing. How many of you have, I know I have been aware of an issue in your life, but you're not yet willing to step up to doing something about it? I got one I've been carrying around for pretty much my whole life, and it's like, until you're in that space of being willing, you won't be able to make progress, right? So you're going to use your power of will, because you've noticed now that it's like, I don't like ending up in this space over and over again. I'm going to become willing to do the work, willing to make a change. And I'm going to use that power of will to make some active choices. So that would be where you like build a denial that works for you around your issue and start actively working on it. You'll always want to, and like I said, we'll talk about affirmations at another time, but as soon as you empty the trash of your consciousness, then you need to fill it up with good stuff. So you always will want to follow your denial with an affirmation. And I like to use affirmations, say, I am. And if you're like, just look at the 12 powers and pick a few of those that feel good and say, I am divine love, order, and imagination. Just pick a few and just have that be your affirmation. So those are the spiritual patterns that, capacities that you have, and we all have all those spiritual capacities 100% in us all the time. So you have all these tools that are ready to be used as soon as you become willing and lean into that. So I want to go back to the story about the two wolves. Now, of course, this is a story that is about consciousness, right? So we're not actually talking about little wild doggies or anything, okay? We're talking about aspects of our consciousness. And both wolves are a part of who you are, right? So we love both of them. We can love ourselves and help ourselves and work with ourselves, even when we're in the angry resentment space. Let's love on it and bring it back into, the happy, peaceful thing. Whatever it is we're doing is something that we've been feeding, and we can choose to stop feeding that, deny that, and move into feeding things that we want to be in the world. So just want to make sure we're not talking about like a bad wolf that we're going to make starve to death. What we're going to do is stop feeding that wolf in our consciousness the energy of I'm holding a grudge against someone, and I've been doing that for years and they don't even know it. So who's holding the grudge? I'm the one that's so, and what we want to do is shift what we're feeding that wolf. We're not casting it out into the woods to starve. We're enfolding it and bringing it in and bringing it into the love consciousness that we know that we are. So you will have an opportunity to continue to work with this topic of denials and intentional release at our 5 o'clock service today, which will be facilitated by Reverend Alva Kershaw. So, this was something that I suggested to her because I kind of really like doing part 1 at 11, think on it, process, and then come at 5 and take it deeper and really practice with it. So the 5 o'clock service is available in person or on Zoom. So just want to suggest that there's more opportunities to work with that. And right now, we're going to take everything that we've been talking about and move it into meditation. So I encourage you to just kind of wiggle in your seat and get more comfortable. Take a few deep breaths. And if you like, you can allow your outer eyes to drift closed. And let's just check in with the body. The body's been hearing a lot of messages here today, and some of it might be uncomfortable. You might have been reminded of things that it's like, I could work on that. But let's work on just relaxing the body and allowing the body to help us let a few things go. So let's start at our feet. Just give your toes a little wiggle. And as you do, just let something go. Let something go. And let that relaxation move up your legs, through your knees, your flexible and wonderful knees, up through your upper leg into your seat. Just wiggle back and forth. Let something go. Move that relaxation up through your spine. Give yourself a little wiggle through the spine also. And let something go. Take that energy of relaxation through your torso, through your gut mind, up through your heart center, into your shoulders, down your arms, down to your fingers, and give your fingers a little flick and let something go. Move that focus back up your arms into your shoulders and up your neck, and give your head a little wobble, a little wiggle. Let the tension go out of your neck, out of your jaw. Smooth out wherever it is you're holding tension in your face. Is it between your brows, at the corner of your eyes? Just let it relax. As we move into the stillness where we can reside in this awareness that we have the capacity to direct our energy, our power, our focus in any way we choose. And we set an intention to become more aware of what we're giving our power to. And in that awareness, we can make better choices. We can choose to feed our energy of peace and joy and reconciliation. So we set our intention to become more aware, and we're going to move into the silence together, holding that intention for ourselves and for each other. And as we begin to come back into this moment, into your seat, we take this intention that we have shared together and move it into a space of affirmation where we affirm that we are the power of wisdom and understanding. As we have set this intention to become more aware of how we are using our divine power, we use our tools of wisdom and understanding. We use our capacity for order to know the next best step so that we can engage with our power of will and make a different choice about how we're going to use our words, how we're going to direct our energy in the future. And as we have explored today our capacity for using this potential for intentional release, we're going to share this denial together. I've said it several times today, and I ask you to repeat after me. I give no power to thoughts of lack and limitation. Say it with me. I give no power to thoughts of lack and limitation. So just take your hand and just brush that cobweb out of the way. Let it go. Flick your fingers. Let something go. And now we move into an affirmation together. I am divine and I am grateful. Say it with me, folks. Let's do it 3 times. I am divine and I am grateful. Give it more. I am divine and I am grateful. One more time. I am divine and I am grateful. So it is, my friends. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. You coming up here? All right, awesome.
Now's the time for our tithes and offerings, so I ask that the ushers come forward. And if you would, join me in the affirmation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, for the joy of giving and receiving. Song.
Here's a familiar one again. I'm looking for a miracle. And we normally sing this with the choir, so I'd appreciate a little backup singing here anytime. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. Don't you know that the sky is the limit to what I can have? Let's hear it. We all know it is. The sky is the limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. You know what to do. Just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey. Just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. Don't you know that the sky is the limit to what I can have? I like that harmonizing out there. Let's hear it. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Yes, you know it is. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Just receive and believe it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey. Believe and receive it. God will perform it today. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way out of no way. Just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey. Just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. All right.
How about Karen on vocals?
Well, thank you.
She's such a dynamo. We bless these tithes and these offerings because they go out to the world to bless many hands and be blessed and come back to us manyfold, for the law of attraction, law of circulation demands that. And let's seal this with 3 times, I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Edward graciously handled the offering to just give me a minute to cool down because I got hot up here. Tying my hair up like, whoo. Okay.
I'm also willing to do the transformational opportunity.
Oh, that's right, yes. Is that what's next? Excellent. Let's do that. I'm going to stand here and you do what you're saying.
Okay. I'm okay with it. While enjoying fellowship coffee right after the service today, be sure to check out the Youth and Family Ministries yard sale featuring lots of toddler toys and books. And plan to do some shopping for those little ones in your life. And you can shop for the big ones in your life as well. They may enjoy a toy as well. As Cheryl mentioned earlier, the spiritual practice gathering tonight is facilitated by Reverend Alva Kershaw. And the theme will carry over from Cheryl's message this morning. The topic is denials, the practice of releasing what no longer serves. And of course, this is in person and on Zoom at 5 p.m. Next Sunday morning, August 29th, we are pleased to announce a special video message with Reverend James Trapp on the creative power of your words. Reverend Trapp is an inspirational speaker. He is a former CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries and is currently the senior minister at the Spiritual Life Center in Sacramento, California. And this was an interesting fact. He was last with us almost 10 years ago when we had him for the grand opening of this wonderful facility. So what a great return. Many of us enjoyed the small group gatherings for Mission Impossible, and so more small groups are coming. Unity of Bon Air is making plans for a spiritual study program this fall. Right now, we are looking for individuals who would like to host small groups, either in person or online, and contact Reverend Sherry McKenzie. Call the office to leave a message for her. And we're glad that you're bringing that back. Again, Sherry has done this many, many, many years, and so it's good to have that connection. There she is. Thank you so much. Last Sunday, you heard from Phyllis Min and her dog, Petey, about the October 2nd pet blessing. We want to use your pet pictures in our ongoing advertising about this in the e-news and the Sunday Loop. Also, volunteers are desired for the day of the event. You may sign up on the clipboard in the hallway. And speaking of volunteers, the saying is so true. It takes a village. Now that we are back at UBA in person, there are many areas where volunteers are welcome so that many hands make light work. For the Sunday morning, we could use more ushers, more fellowship coffee servers, and assistance in youth and family. Throughout the week, we would love more office helpers and garden team members. So see Susan, I don't think Susan is here right now, or Cheryl or call the office to offer your services at this very important part of our church. Our prayer chaplains are here to pray with you today, and would the prayer chaplain stand up? These wonderful souls are here to pray for you, your needs, and also your celebrations. So they will be here afterwards. Please seek them out. They are a wonderful resource. And as always, to get details and keep up with all that is happening at Unity of Bon Air, sign up for the e-news or go to the website for the events calendar. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Edward is the most excellent wingman. So I want to thank him. I want to thank our wonderful music team, Lucy, Karen, Julie, birthday lady today. Back in the back is Dan on the sound, and we've got Sherry and Deb and Carrie. And also want to thank Mark, who was greeting you at the door today, and I think Janet is helping out with the fellowship coffee, and anyone else who I don't specifically know that they've been helping. I want to thank them and everyone that brings this joyous experience to you today. So I say the service is now ended and our ministry of love continues. So those in the room, let's stand up and do our prayer for protection and follow that with a peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment, peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you, Unity.